In May of 1984, the National Geographic magazine had a very interesting picture on their front cover. So if you do know of people who collect the National Geographic magazine, or if you have access to it online, if you search the May 1984 cover, you will find something interesting. The cover features a story that is titled The Ringed Lady. And the Ringed Lady's story is about a lady who lived in AD 79 in Rome, in Italy. And when that Mount Vesuvius erupted, she was caught in that volcanic eruption and she died. Now, what's special about this featured story in the National Geographic of 1984, May 1984, is that it talked about this ringed lady. And the picture is that of a skeleton, the skeleton of this lady. But if you look closely at the picture, you will see that on her hand, there were two rings, colorful rings. And that's why she was called the Ringed Lady. She died, her body was reduced to the skeleton stage. It was preserved in the lava that had frozen up. And they were able to see and retrieve many of these bodies of the people who were trapped in the volcanic eruption that took place on Mount Vesuvius in AD 79. But the lady still had her rings intact. That picture has always been a sobering reminder to me and to everybody who looks through that article, reads through the article, that we can have many possessions in life. We can have precious, expensive possessions in life, but when we die, we take nothing away. And so today, I want to address the question, what is life? Is life all that we acquire while we are on this earth? Or is there more to life than what we call life on this earth? The Dalai Lama, who's the religious and spiritual leader of the people of Tibet, said this very interestingly. He captured the essence of what most people think life is when he said, man is born and he starts acquiring wealth. He sacrifices his health to acquire wealth. And once he has sacrificed his health and acquired all the wealth, he needs the wealth to rejuvenate and to pay for his ill health. So man makes money at the expense of his health, and then man will spend that money to get his health back. And he said, the Dalai Lama continued to say that man lives like he will never really die. But finally, he dies as if he never really lived. And those words help us to recognize, help us to reflect that what we call life on this earth is simply going through this journey of life on this earth, going through the motions, getting through what life throws at us, and then ending up dead when our time has come. So we ask the question, what really is life? Is there more to life than what we call life on this earth? And I want for us today to look at a verse in the book of Job, Job chapter 1 and verse 20 and verse 21. Now, Job's story is a fascinating story in the Bible, because as we get to the Old Testament, we read of a person who lived many, many centuries ago by the name of Job. And he was an extremely successful man. He was a man of influence. He was a man who had impacted lives. He was a man who had impacted society. And he was a man who was wealthy. And as you read chapter 1, you understand the extent of his wealth. But then in chapter 1, we also read that Job faces not one calamity, but a series of calamities. And as he faces calamity after calamity after calamity, we see in verse 20 and verse 21 the manner in which he responds. He says, the Lord gave and the Lord taketh away. The Lord has given, the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. And in those words, in that statement, or those statements that Job makes, we recognize that even though Job was a very wealthy person, when all his wealth and his influence and all the material blessings of his life were taken away, that he did not crumple, he did not crumble and collapse. He did not just give up the fight, as it were. True, he went through moments of frustration and moments of grief, but he was able to recognize a grander, deeper reality, the reality of God. And that is why we see in verse 20, verse 21, that when Job heard all these things, he bowed down and worshiped. And then he uttered those timeless words, the Lord gave and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. And so today, as we expand on our session, as we open up this verse, we want to look at what really is life, what really is the purpose of life. And we want to discover that when you engage, when you experience a God-centered, God-driven life, that even when you face the storms of life and the calamities of life, you can still live with a sense of deeper meaning and a rich purpose and a calling in life.